The Hermit is one of the most popular tarot cards, not least because it's been used on posters and on t-shirts for various bands and images throughout the years. It's a very esoteric card, and over on the Rider-Waite deck we can see a solitary hermit standing on top of a mountain, holding a lantern within his hand adorned with a six-pointed star, the seal of Solomon, a symbol of wisdom. As he walks his path, his lamp guides his way, and yet it only illuminates the first few steps of his journey. He cannot see the entire road ahead of him, but instead it's lit little by little as he uses his light to guide him. Moving over to the Thoth deck, and we have a card with much more symbolism than what we had over on the Rider-Waite tarot cards. Over on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, the Hermit connects Chesed to Tifereth, which is the 20th path on the actual Tree of Life. These two Sephiroth are both masculine within their attributes, and Chesed is a more constructive element, a constructive energy, therefore suggesting the idea of a journey, and a journey towards a particular intention, a path of growth, and something with a goal in mind of which is to be reached at the end of the journey. At the bottom of the card, let's have a look at our Hebrew character. This time it's the character of Yod. Now, this has many different meanings to it, and in its most basic pictorial sense could be translated to mean hand, and as we will see later on, there is a hand featured in a prominent place upon the card. The Yod is also the first word of the Tetragrammaton, the first letter of it, and it's also the foundation of all the other letters within the Hebrew alphabet. So all the letters within the Hebrew alphabet are merely combinations and continuations of different ways of forming and shaping the letter of Yod. Yod symbolises a point of divine light. It symbolises, if you like, God, the spiritual entity, as the Father, wisdom, the highest form of light, the creator of worlds themselves. And indeed there is more symbolism which connects to this later on in the actual card. And so we can see the astrological attribution on the bottom of the card as well, and this time it is the Virgo sign, which although is a masculine sign, also has a kind of duality to it, so it has a feminine side to it. Virgo is associated very much with the physical body, the health of the body, and the personal development in our life, ruled by Mercury, which is exalted within Virgo in astrology. Mercury is of course represented by will of God, the creation of worlds like what we've had before, and we will see later on in the card as well, and the symbolism of the actual hermit himself. Mercury as a god is also seen as a guider of souls, a ferryman, so this god would guide souls throughout the world to come after death, the underworld, the afterworld. He therefore is a mediator, a middleman between worlds, the world of the living, the world of the dead. He would be the one that would meet you and guide you across the world to come. And of course this is what we see in popular images of the hermit as well. Now a hermit himself, of course, is symbolic of solitude, and solitude has to come with a type of independence. In order to live completely on one's own, you would be off-grid, you would be away from the world of man, and you would have to have independence to live like that. And so it's suggesting that type of wisdom which is gained by a connection to one's higher consciousness happens silently within this solitude, within this character of whom is withdrawn from the world, and this is happening within him, not outside in the world that he can see. And so it's the silence of coming into wisdom, of coming into understanding, of withdrawing into reading, for example, to gain wisdom, to study. Now the hermit himself is actually shaped on the Thoth deck in the shape of the letter Yod, which is quite a wonderful symbol. And so Yod, of course, is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and all the letters are formed of it, and it's the first word of the Tetragrammaton. Therefore, it is the seed of wisdom. if that letter is used to create all the other letters, then it is the seed of the letters. It's the origin of the letters. And so to have the hermit in the shape of Yod suggests that the hermit himself is the origin of wisdom. He is that seed of all knowledge within us. In the background of the card you can actually see wheat. This is an agricultural symbol. Usually this connects to rural and pastoral life, and also within astrology it's Virgo, and this goes back to as well the Persephone story with the pomegranate in your classical civilization. And the growth of wheat is also connected with the changing of seasons, harvest, and so metaphysically this would mean that of course you would be growing wisdom within you. You would, as a plant of a seed, you would have to plant a seed, allow it to grow within you. You wouldn't just come across wisdom fully grown, you would have to nurture it from that seed and allow it to grow and germinate within you. You would do that physically by watering the plant, tending to the plant, and metaphysically you would do it by being guided by your higher consciousness and by contemplation, meditation and study. The actual head of the hermit is a very different looking thing to the Rider-Waite deck, where it looks very human. Here we have instead the head of an ibis. The ibis bird is associated with Thoth in ancient Egypt, and so this is a very powerful spiritual bird which was very much venerated within Egyptian culture. Thoth, of course, is a god of the written word. He's a scribe. He's a god of wisdom and knowledge, which is just what the whole card is all about. Thoth, of course, is also the name of the entire deck, suggesting that there is something of that knowledge and wisdom running through every card in the deck. Now, the lantern of which the hermit is holding here on the Thoth deck is shaped in a diamond pattern. Now, the diamond's something that we've seen twice already within the Thoth deck, and it can mean many different things, but here the symbol is once again that of Kether, the formless, pure, spiritual white light. In the centre of the lantern is an image of the sun. So this suggests that he is not just being led by his own wisdom, but there's a spiritual light guiding him as well, and this is guiding him along the path, just as we've seen in other tarot cards as well on the deck. It's saying that there's a light of spirit which is inspiring him, inspiring that wisdom and creation that is drawing him and making him want to go around that path. This is illuminating him essentially. You can see this yet again on the fact that there are these yellow golden lights emanating from the centre of the lantern. They are actually touching all of the other symbols on the card, or they're reaching out to them at least. So everything is touched by this spiritual, pure light of the sun. Now, one of the most interesting symbols upon the card is seen here. This symbol is, as well, it looks a little bit like the magician's staff, but it's actually a sperm. It's the origin of life, and so also the potential of the new life which is yet to be born. Now, going back to the beginning, where we looked at the character Yod down at the bottom of the card, Aleister Crowley himself in the Book of Thoth, that the sperm here on the card represents physical life and connects us to the idea of Yod as the creator of worlds. And so the hermit here is the creator of worlds. His sperm, of course, has the potential to create new life, to create a life which goes forth into that new world. This is the force of human creation. This is the very potent sexual force, without of which, of course, none of us would have been born. And so this sperm is hidden. Of course, you can't see it in ejaculate, and you can't see it as it goes and germinates the egg inside. And so the sperm is a type of hermit in itself, and so in that regard, that's what the card is. Now, looking inside the sperm, we can see that there is a fetus inside it, and this goes back to very old ideas that the sperm contained within it a little mini human, if you like, which of course it can do in some ways if you want to go to DNA and so on. And of course, if you look at the head of this, you can see yet again there is another diamond symbol here, and so the life that's in there has within it God, it has within it spiritual light, Kether, it's pure, It's filled with that light, and it's buzzing with the potential of what it could become when it's born. Now, there's also a large three-headed dog on the card, a Cerberus. This dog is actually looking in all different directions. It can see what's going on all around it. These represent the lower consciousness, the lower world of our world. It's not stopping the journey, however, and so the Cerberus is being tamed by the Hermit. The Hermit's risen above the Cerberus, and he still manages to carry on his journey. He's not frightened of this creature, the lower consciousness. He's overcome it, and this is something that we've seen before as well. It's suggesting that the head, which is looking forward with the open mouth, represents our method of speech, our talking. And so the central head, therefore, is thought. This is higher than the other heads, so everything begins with thought. Thought comes before action and speech, and nothing can happen if it doesn't have a thought first. The head that's looking back over, therefore, is the world of action, of taking action to manifest your will and so on. There is also yet another Orphic egg, which we've previously seen on the Lover's card, and this is on the Hermit card too. As we've seen before, the Orphic egg symbolises the manifestation of the world, the universe come into being. And yet here it can also be the subjective world of the individual, the suggestion that we see the world all slightly differently. We create our own reality in our own terms, and so we're manifesting what it is that we are putting out in our thoughts. The Hermit is actually looking directly at this Orphic egg. So he's looking at the manifested universe. He's saying, I want to learn all about this, I want to study it. And in order to study the universe, of course, I'm studying myself, because I am the microcosm and that is the macrocosm. So to study one is to study the other. There is a pyramid on the card, which is formed by a ray of light which is not coming from the lantern, and yet the light is intersecting with that from the lantern. The pyramid can be symbolic of all manner of different things, and yet if we connect this to what we've previously seen, the sperm, it could be suggested here that the pyramid is a symbol of an energy rising upwards, and so in other words, it's a type of phallic symbol, and this would indicate that that light of the sun, of which he's holding in his hand, that is the fire of passion, the fire of love, of energy, and this energizes him, and this phallic energy rises up and therefore gives birth to the hidden hermit, the sperm that we've seen below. So this suggests there is another ray of light at the bottom which crosses across the pyramid and vanishes into a pinpoint. This is the horizon. It's the road that he is walking along, and the road that the sperm would have to take in order to be born and therefore manifest itself into the physical world. And so here we have a wonderful, deeply esoteric symbol of the meaning of the card itself, and in many ways the meaning of life. If you draw the Hermit card in your tarot reading, it can mean, in simple terms, if you're in a bad situation, get away from that bad situation and then look at it with a new perspective from outside of it. It can mean that you must shine a light upon your situation, illuminate it, see it in a new light, if you like. It can mean simply that you should spend time alone. You should withdraw from the world around you, have, if you like, me time. And I mean that in a very deep way, where you would withdraw from all your troubles and your strife, and you would withdraw into your very core, your very own consciousness, and give yourself time to soul search and so on. The card is one drenched in wisdom and of knowledge. It always feels, when I look at this Hermit card, that it's harbouring secrets that, even if I was to study this card all day, there would be things that I've still missed. This card is all about searching for wisdom, and enjoying doing so, because to search for wisdom, to look at the world with wonder, and to walk along your path, seeing the path illuminated with light, and therefore illuminated with the wonder of the world, is in many ways the very gift of life itself.